Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Quarters of Netherdeep, where we have sound. Imagine that.
Do we really?
Yeah, we do. I
don't believe
just
you.
unplugged it and plugged it back in.
That's the
Star's in charge.
thing.
Turn it to him.
Hello. Yes. Welcome back to Call of Netherdeep. Episode 14. Or is it 13, James?
14.
14. We've done 13 episodes. I have with me playing Alora.
Hi, I'm Alora. I'm playing Thea, the Kalishtar Wildfire Druid.
I have Jamal.
Greetings. I am Unit 2B01. I would be your personal artifice assistant. However, I am currently imprisoned. May I request some assistance?
No. I have Josh.
I'm Josh. I will be playing Binks, the cat anthropomorph Way of Mercy monk.
I have Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm playing Miles, the PSI warrior human fighter.
And I have James.
Hello, I'm James, and my sole aim today in this episode is to retrieve the wand that Toby's got in prison. I'm playing Zyda Stormbringer. He is a winged tiefling paladin divine soul sorcerer.
Alright, so last we left off, you guys started to get acquainted a little bit more with the city of Anharel. And you guys got your first mission from, what was his name? Owen? Yes. Owen, you were sent to get what was thought to be a cultist studying some dark magic, which, to be fair, it was found out that he was previously a cultist. But, yeah. You all decided, instead of turning him in, you gave him over to the Library of the Cobalt Soul, where they promised to do what they could, but most likely were going to hand him over to the guards for a semi-witness protection program, basically. During that time, however, though, our robot friend Toby was caught completely murdering two people and was sent to jail, where we pick up now.
You murdering. They attacked me.
Well, that isn't how the guards see it, though. We will begin with Toby. Toby, you find yourself in a little bit of an unfamiliar place.
I would hope so. This entire city should be unfamiliar.
You find yourself in... Let me mark it on the map for you. You are in the Guided District, where you were escorted after the incident with the muggers, who you shot a lightning bolt at, killing two of them. And you've been escorted, and you've been waiting interrogation or an interview. Depends on how you see it. You've been waiting for about an hour now, though. What is Toby doing in this time?
More than likely just performing routine maintenance. As I can. Just, utilizing what I have on hand.
Yeah, when you arrived, unfortunately, they didn't let you keep your steel defender with you, as could be seen as a weapon. So they didn't want to let you, sit in your cell and have a potential weapon with you. And they also seized some of your tools, more of the sharper, dangerous kinds. Stuff that could be used for like piercing, like stabs and stuff like that. And the jail cell it's bleak, but it also has the air of still very nice, especially considering that where you previously were was a bit of a shadier part of town. This is a huge step up, but at the same time, it you don't have a nose, do you? Or some system of processing smells?
Olfactory sensors.
Yeah, I would say if Toby has them, they would be very, very limited.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Then with your limited sense of smell, it's very overwhelming. Just the stench of filth and just sewage. It seems as though these cells aren't very well taken care of.
It's no bother for me, but for others, I can imagine it would be.
Yeah, in the cell next to you, there appears to be a dwarf. Looking at his condition, it seems he's currently passed out. Just face, just completely down, just flat on the ground, completely passed out. And to your right, there seems to be an orc sitting there, very like, but he's been muttering to himself the whole time, and he is the only one of the three of you that you can see that still has like the chain cuffs on that all of you were given when you first came in. But he still has them on. What is the party doing while Toby is enjoying his new home?
Celebrating?
Chilling, going out for a meal.
After we finished up, because we were finishing the interview with former not cultist, we were in the hallway. I think I would have immediately asked, so we kind of got in a little bit of trouble on our journey. Owen, could you... One of our members was ambushed in an alley, and he had to take some people out. Is there a chance you could help get him released?
Oh, when you say take them out, he didn't happen to use magic, did he?
Well, yes.
Okay, then
It's
this
a
will be.
very science-y kind of magic.
It's magic nonetheless.
How does he know? He wasn't there.
Well, it doesn't matter where you get your magic from. It is still magic because having magic, such as though you could kill a person with it, puts you at a little bit of a higher level than everyone else. So the gods
No.
generally
We're all level 7, even Miles.
it is generally frowned upon to use magic in cities such as this.
So it's perfectly okay to gutturally rip your foe limb from limb with a knife, but as soon as you cast a cantrip, you're in trouble.
Well, was it a cantrip though?
It was from a wand.
The point being is that one is just as deadly as the other if the opponent is dead.
Yes, but magic has a tendency to go wild if it's used too uncontrollably. It has the potential to cause more harm to everyone than a single stab wound from a knife.
You people used magic on me and didn't think twice about it.
Well, that's because you're in the confines of this building where we have permission to use magic.
Oh, so if you have permission, then it's okay, but everyone else who doesn't have permission, it's not okay?
Yes, that is exactly how it works.
Regardless
You're
of
making the rules.
regardless of the philosophical debate, Banks, we do have a Toby to... Well, worry is a strong word. We do have a Toby to retrieve. If he has killed somebody using magic in self-defense, is he a lost cause?
Not particularly. It's just going to be a lot harder to get him off without some sort of repercussion for his actions.
More difficult or more expensive?
Both, depending on the level of magic that was used, if anyone else was hurt, how the guards currently see the situation. I have a feeling they only have a small view of it currently. They don't know the full story, which
Perhaps
will.
we should...
If they don't know
They
the
sounded
full
rather calm from the rooftop.
You were there witnessing it.
Yes.
We watched.
Then we should
Didn't want to blow our cover.
I see. All right. Well, we should get you there immediately to testify, so to speak, on his behalf. That will greatly increase his chances of nothing going wrong.
Xylus will agree. James thinks he's asking a lot.
Give me an insight check. Anyone.
I'm looking the other way.
12.
All right. Yeah.
The party
None
have,
of you-
have all put their heads together to think hard about this issue while people jump around behind their back.
Yeah, most of you sort of miss, or you aren't able to kind of comprehend the expression on Owen's face right now.
Oh well. Perhaps we will head over there. Do you know
yeah.
where we should head?
Where were you all when it happened? Do you remember the general
I was on the roof.
district you were in?
Believe it was by the warehouse.
By the warehouses. Okay. So that would be the San Herald district.
It was the bad area.
That sounds very accurate, Sandy Hill.
That there are a lot of bad areas here. That doesn't narrow it down.
Show me a map and I can point it out.
Where you guys were was the San Herald district. And he sort of pieces that together when you start mentioning warehouses and stuff like that. And he'll say, the closest. Yes, San Herald. Just like that. Just like that. The closest station that they would most likely take him to is in the guided district. If we hurry, we can make it there hopefully before he is carted away to one of the bigger facilities where it will be harder to reach him and get in contact with him.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
I thought you said that they didn't know the full story of what happened.
Yes, but they wouldn't do the interrogations or the questions in a small station such as that. This city is so big. He'll explain that the city is so big that there are about 2 primary stations where the guards are. This is where majority of inmates and other prisoners or anyone being held for questioning are taken to. But with it being so big, it might be hard for you to reach it. So there are a lot of smaller little stations specifically meant to hold prisoners until they can go and be transferred to the bigger stations for questioning.
That's very
So
normal.
he's at one of these smaller holding stations. But if he gets transferred to one of the bigger ones, then it will be harder for us as civilians to then be able to testify and say that he did nothing wrong or explain your sides of the story.
We should hasten.
You're not a civilian, Owen. You've got power, right? And influence.
Yes, I do, but seeing as you all are fairly new initiates to the Cobalt Soul, it's not something that we just throw around all willy-nilly. Because we have a specific pact with the gods that we are allowed to use magic to the smallest extent. And so if they find out that a new initiate of ours used magic on a scale such as that it killed a person, it will make everyone in the Cobalt Soul's life harder.
It's all becoming all so clear what your intentions are.
And what intentions do you mean?
I think it's time we left.
I'll smile at him. Say nothing, but I'll smile at him as if to say, don't worry about it. And we'll head. I'm assuming he can direct us to the guided district?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, he...
Once we get close, I'll sort of wave someone down and be like, oi, we're guards. And we'll make our
well,
way there.
he'll bring out your map, and
draw a really nice pink oval around it?
Yes.
Cool. That's nice of him. Right.
He'll say that building is where is the closest station, so that's most likely where he's being held.
As we leave, I will turn to the group, and do we want to all turn up together? Obviously, Miles and yourself, Binks, you weren't present to make witness statements.
Well, if the jury sees that a 2B has lots of friends and family that care for him, they might choose to take pity if we all go to the trial together.
That's true. That's true. I really want to ask Binks if he's going to cause trouble, but Silas wouldn't. Yeah, sure. We'll all go together. I'll head up to the gate door thing, frontness.
All right.
Make our
There
presence
is
known.
there's a guard sitting out there. He has a spear and shield in hand, and he's sort of standing in front, and he's just like, "May I help you, sir?"
Yes, we've come on behalf of our friend. Unit 2B01 is his full name. There was a bit of a ruckus in the district over yonder, the Sand Herald district. He was forced to defend himself with measures quite drastic. We were there. We witnessed the event. We want to give testimony on his behalf. And perhaps explain what events happened. He was quite outnumbered, you know.
The guard will sort of like narrow his eyes a little bit and say, he'll say, if he was so outnumbered and you say you witnessed this, then why did you not step in to help?
I said he was outnumbered. I didn't say he wasn't handling himself.
The guard will sort of say, you may go in and you may attempt to speak on his behalf, but I'll say this, it is not going to be an easy feat.
Very well.
And with that, he sort of helps open the gate. You guys are able to walk up to a very elegant looking building. It has like above it, it has written on it Station Alpha, with multiple guards running around, doing like some small amounts of like training and stuff like that. Some are just like on patrol around the compound, and you are buzzed in. And when you are, you see it is very like cramped and like dark in there, in the sense that it's not very well lit. And there is a tabaxi sitting there at the reception's desk and saying, yes, how can I help you?
We're here to speak on behalf of Unit 2B01 in regards to the fracas that happened over in the Sand Herald district.
Your
I'm
name?
trying to think of how many different words I can use. Zydus Dawnbringer, my companion here, Thea, was also present at the time. We were
Address?
all, and then I'll sort of motion towards everybody, on business on behalf of the Cobalt Soul. Address, yes, we have an address. I'll, sort of
I believe our address is just house.
house northeast. Yeah, I'll.
Would we
I'll,
have noticed the house
we
number?
We had paperwork, right? So I will
You did.
display the paperwork. Sorry, we're new to the town. There's a lot of streets, you know.
When you say you're new to the town, do you mean you're new to the town and the city?
Yes.
I'll look at
You
her like
didn't know-
they're the same fucking thing, idiot. But I won't say
We
anything.
didn't know where we were going, and suddenly our friend got separated.
Binks, I think that the kind receptionist here does not need the testimony. Tis the others.
I will not be taking a testimony,
Indeed.
but she'll motion to a guard that starts walking up. It's just a human. You can't really get a lot of the facial features, as he still has a lot of like the guard uniform on and stuff like that. And she says, Xylus and Thea, you both said that you were at the
We were present.
scene. If you wouldn't mind coming with Iroh here for some questioning, then we can get this all sorted out and we can put your statements on record.
I was
I'm-
also.
I'm gonna point my finger at. Wait, I can't do that yet. Oh shit! Wait, I thought I had message. I'm sure I had message like yesterday. Why do I not have message this time? Oh well, okay. I won't. I'll just look at Binks as if to tell him to behave.
I would like to give a statement too, please.
If you wouldn't mind waiting here, then this is Iroh saying it. If you wouldn't mind waiting here, I'll come and retrieve you after I finish with your two friends here.
Io as in. Io?
Iroh.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Very
Thank you so much. And can you just please, is he doing okay?
He's doing fine as far as we're well, but he's not eating.
Have you given
He
him?
doesn't. He doesn't like food.
Have you given him the unleaded?
I'm just gonna turn my back and suggest to Iro that perhaps we speed along the corridor.
Yeah, he'll take you all past or down a very tight hallway, where you go to a door where above it says interview room. Along the way, you do pass cell block 2 doors. One says cell block A, that's on your left side, and the other one says cell block B. You're not able to peer in, just because the glass is very, like, it's not foggy, but it's very blurry, and so you can't get, like, good looks at it, especially quickly walking past.
Yeah, I don't think I was trying anyway. I'll follow along.
As you enter the rooms, you're led to a different room than Xylus. And Iroh, he leads Xylus, he leads you into one room, and Thea, you are led by an elf into another room.
I would link my mind with Xylus if I thought we were being separated.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with Xylus. You get sat down. It's very plain, very cold. There's only one light in the room, which comes from directly overhead, and he asked, take a seat if you wouldn't mind.
I will. Thank you for taking the time to see me.
Of course. He'll sit down as well on the other side, and he'll bring out a pen and paper, and he'll say, so, you said that your friend was attacked.
He was quite outnumbered, in fact.
Multiple assailants. Can you say how many there were?
Can I say how many there were?
The ones that Toby knew about, there were 4. But you know that there were 8 in total because there were 4 on the roof.
There were 4 down on the ground and 4 up on the roof. But in all fairness, my companion was only aware of the 4 on the ground. We did our best to convince those up above to stand down, but got no further involved in that.
Why didn't you attempt to warn the folks on the bottom as well?
While we were dealing with those on top, there was quite the altercation going on down below. And as you probably well know, throwing more magic about, which is how I would be forced to defend myself if necessary, is not necessarily a good idea. We didn't want to cause any more damage than was already done.
He'll not
Is there a reason for the Ghostbusters theme tune? Do you get a lot of ghosts down here?
Yes, actually. A lot of people have died in this prison.
If he dies, he can be Skeletoby. Oh, too.
Oh my god, not Skeletoni the turd.
I'll describe the attack as if necessary, or perhaps how Toby defended himself.
Yeah, when you start trying to describe the attackers, he stops writing down. He sort of just lets you finish, and then he'll say, how long have you all been in the city?
49.7 hours. I don't know. I haven't got the fucking foggiest, mate.
A couple days.
Great, 48.7 hours. Yeah, something like that.
So a couple days then. All right. When you arrived here, or were making your journey here, were you aware of the rules on magic in the city?
Oh goodness me, no. We weren't aware of much at all. We arrived on a teleportation scroll, got taken to a strange library, got given a job, and sent back out. Via fighting a demon in our basement.
What?
It's been a lengthy weekend.
He takes, you see him take notes separately, like on a different page about the whole demon bit, and like, you know, like it's kind of circled a couple times with like question mark.
To
but
Balgura.
he-
Chatty, in fact. They thought the house belonged to them. It was most troublesome. Anyway, that's besides the point.
When you say
No.
you were here doing a job, who were you doing a job for?
Owen didn't... Owen... Fucking hell, Josh. Owen didn't specify that we couldn't mention him, did we? Did he?
No, he didn't.
Great. We were working on behalf of the Cobalt Soul. They facilitated our journey here.
Are you long-term members, or was this an
No, we're
entrance mission?
about as long-term members as we are long-term members of this city, and that is to say, no, not at all. I'm not sure we're members in the slightest. We are but acquaintances. We were helping them out. The mission seemed fair.
Would you say that your friend had the ability to handle the situation with his assailants without using magic, or would he have to have resorted to magic?
I'm
to
very
extent?
sorry, sir. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific. It is but magic that he can move. He is automaton.
From our accounts, speaking to some of the witnesses that heard and saw it, he used a wand of lightning bolt.
Indeed.
To kill 2 of his assailants, as you say. Does he possess the physical skill or combat prowess to be able to handle this without having to resort to such a powerful item?
I would say that all of Unit 2B01's magic is equally powerful and terrifying. He did what he had to, but no more than he had to. The situation was getting out of hand very quickly, and numerous times did he attempt to talk down his assailants and to warn them that they did not want this fracas, and they continued to threaten him until eventually he did what he was forced to do. And I must add that he discharged the least power possible from the wand. I think it is the only way he could have dealt with multiple assailants at once.
Would you say that Toby, as you call him, poses a threat to the greater safety of the city or its civilians?
Oh no.
No,
Oh, no.
I do not believe so. Toby is very accustomed to working within a rule set. If he was aware of the rules on magic, I'm certain that he would have attempted to find any other way of managing the situation, even if it was to his own detriment. He is, in fact, programmed to follow rules. The temptation to just say certainly. He's a danger to society. Leave the fucking rot.
Yeah, oh my god. I knew it.
Yes.
With that,
Sorry, sir. Just a question.
yes.
Those of us with magical capacity of a certain strength, do we need to register or something, or make people aware that we have these abilities, or do we just need to attempt to not use our magic to harm any others?
Registering is a big step. We like to measure the magical abilities of a person, just so that way we are aware that there are powerful casters within
It's just
the
that
confines of the city.
the wand
which-
of lightning bolts pales in comparison to my own mighty arts.
Then, if you were in the same situation as Toby, you would it would be a lot harder.
I smile and gesture towards my wings. Perhaps. They couldn't fly.
There are different ways that we could have handled the situation. Could have been handled. That's why I'm asking these questions here. I
Indeed.
have spoken to Toby.
Most pleasant
all
fellow.
honest-
Boring, but pleasant.
He is, but in all honesty, don't think he has the charisma to be able to talk his way out of a situation like that.
No.
Though I do think
No, he
some
is.
amount of violence would have transpired either way, although seeing some of the tools that he had at his disposal, I question on whether or not the wand was the first thing he should have jumped to.
I think that in the situation where one's life is at risk, we make a decision quickly. And whilst Toby's might not have been the perfect decision, it was certainly the simplest.
If you wouldn't
for
mind
that
waiting
reason,
here,
I understand.
uh,
Yes, very well.
I'll be right
And
back.
I will report everything that's just been said via mind link to Thea.
While this conversation was happening, Theo is also having a conversation. So
Oh, great!
we're gonna
I'm distracting the hell out of her.
Well, no, we're gonna go back in time to when
Okay.
Thea
I
entered
thought the
room.
guard was going to speak to Thea, right? I see. It's going to be a different.
No, that's why another guard entered
Okay.
with her. Just
Well, in that case, I'd just like to backtrack slightly and say that if there is something that Thea drastically disagrees with, I think we would have been communicating regarding the questions. So if there was something I said that she was like, whoa, I wouldn't have said that, then maybe I might have run it by her first. I didn't realize.
I was mostly just listening as I was answering my own questions, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't hear anything that was untrue that I would have disagreed with, so
Okay.
I think we're good.
We're good to go. Good luck.
so Thea, as you enter the room, the scene is very similar to Xylus's. Very plain, cold, a bit cold, a little bit damp, and only one light right above you. The elf, in a bit of a sterner tone than Iroh had, will say, "Please sit."
Why is it so dark in here? As I sit down.
Because this station does not have a lot of money and a lot of funds to be allocating towards the interrogation rooms of all places. And he'll sit down and he'll say, will you please give me your full name?
Thea.
Surname?
Of the mountains.
I'll take that as a
man.
no. Thea, how long have you been in the city for?
2 days.
Right. Would you say that you were aware of some of the rules of the city when you first entered or were traveling towards here?
What rules?
The rules regarding magic.
Are they different?
Yes, you are
I hold out my
supposed
hand and I druidcraft to see if the magic works differently.
The magic works the same, but upon you doing that, he begins to reach for his sword on his side.
I just pick up
Ma'am,
the flower
if
and
you-
I just sort of examine it.
Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind not using magic here, that would be very much appreciated.
Oh, sorry.
How long would you say you've known Toby, I think is as he calls himself?
I will state the amount of time it has been since the festival.
So it's been about like 2, maybe 3 months. Going on. It's going on like 3 months
I've
now.
only had like 8 long rests.
Yeah, but you've done a lot of traveling in between.
That's fair.
3 months.
Would you say that Toby is a man of
No.
malicious character?
He's
I'm
a
sorry?
robot.
Okay. Do you know if he is, as you say, a robot? Do you know who programmed him?
Do we know who programmed any of us?
Well, none of us are robots, though.
Are you sure?
Ma'am, this is to help your friend's case. And I will say that your dodgy questions are not helping his character.
Sorry, I thought I was answering them all correctly.
Well, there's no correct way to answer the question, because the truth can come in many shapes and forms.
You're very confusing.
Would you say that Toby is uh is a is a robot of great power?
I'm. Well, I guess he's about as powerful as I am. He's probably not as powerful as some of the people from my home. He's more powerful than some that we've met along the way.
Would you say that you think Toby had any of the means to diffuse the situation between him and his assailants, as you say that they were?
Well, yes, I think he did.
So you're saying, in your own words, that the only way he could have gotten out of that situation was to use a wand of lightning bolt to kill two of them and nearly mortally wound two more.
He was attacked by 4 people in an alley. It would have actually been more, but my friend and I actually spotted some extra who we had tried to argue out to make them go away, and they actually did. I was a little surprised by that. I kind of thought they would attempt to jump us.
So you're saying that you and your friend were there at the current situation, watched everything take place, and instead of stepping in and trying to stop people from getting hurt, you instead sat there and watched as Toby shot a lightning bolt at two people.
I mean, we had only just scared off the others before we looked down, and then boom.
All right. Are you aware of the consequences in the city for using magic of that caliber?
No? Is it crime to defend yourself?
It isn't the act of defending yourself, it is the fact that he used a very strong magic against, even if it was in self-defense, there still could have been others that were around that could have gotten hurt by that.
Were there?
In this situation, no, but we can't always assume that
But then how is it any
will be
different
thought.
than standing there and hacking somebody with a sword to defend yourself?
Because there is no risk of you hitting anyone else.
Oh no, that's not true. I've seen some really bad swordsmen. No, it's definitely not true.
Miss Thea, are you a magic wielder?
Yes.
Are you... What's the word I'm looking for? Are you...
Accurate.
No. Have you signed up with the magical committee in the city?
The who?
Have you gone to the police and let them know that you are a powerful magic user?
Why would I do that?
So
To-
that the gods may keep in mind that there are powerful magic users in the city, so situations like this can be to an extent avoided.
Okay, so here's the thing. I grew up on a mountain with some wolves. I then met some people in the woods, and then I went to a town with a festival, and then I went to another town that was constantly overrun by demons, and then I came here.
So you're
So,
saying that you're not the best judge of character to be speaking on someone who is currently in jail's behalf?
what are you talking about? He's amazing. He fought demons.
Maybe so, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like you don't have a very strong grasp of how society's rules work.
How are you supposed to know how the rules work if nobody tells you?
Well, if you lead with that, then we can know. if we knew that your friend here wasn't aware of the rules, then that is a different story. Because from the way that we saw it when we got there, it seemed as though he was a magical terrorist attacking and hurting people. If we don't know that there are powerful magic users in the city, then what else are we supposed to assume? That's why we have a list of magical users. So that way we know that they mean us no harm.
They're just sitting there with a very like contemplative look on her face, trying to take in all this information. So you are magic people like not very common here, or is it just like a really, really, really long list?
The list is quite long, but also it's most magic users belong to one of the major factions of the city, and so they are in charge of keeping track of their own members. We don't. The list that we keep is a list of independent spellcasters.
Oh, I don't know that we'd be considered that. I mean, we only just arrived, but we were brought here by the Cobalt Soul, but we're not really in the Cobalt Soul, but we're not exactly alone.
Would you mind telling me what you were doing before you and your partner Toby were caught up in that situation? What were you doing there?
We wanted to know if somebody was a cultist.
And did you do this on your own? You didn't think to come to the police about it?
If we discovered he was a cultist, we were supposed to come to the police with it, but you can't just go accusing everybody.
Were you doing this independently, or did someone give you a job to do this?
We requested to do this.
By who?
Cobalt Soul.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to say before we take you back to the rest of your group?
Well, magic is turning into a camel.
I'm sorry?
Well, you said like certain levels of magic were excessive. If somebody turned into one of those camel things, is that excessive?
If they then turned into a camel and smashed people's heads in, then yes, I think I would consider that a little bit excessive.
Hmm.
It isn't the act of having magic. It isn't the act of showing magic. It is the act of using magic against another person. With that, he'll sort of stand up and he'll say, if you wouldn't mind waiting here for a moment, I will be right back. And at this same time, Xylus, you just finished your conversation with Iroh, and both of them leave, and you are both left in your interrogation rooms.
Just checking. Just wondering who else was around. Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll wait.
Right. Iroh returns Xylus, and he says, "You can come with us. You can come with me now."
Can I? How kind.
And Thea, the elf, will return, and he will say the same. And you will both reconvene and be led back to the reception area. And Iroh will say, there was one more who said he wanted to testify.
He was lying.
Was not lying.
Yeah, okay. Sure. I wouldn't say that, I guess.
I will think to Binks. Please don't lie to them.
If you wouldn't mind coming with me, so we can proceed with the questioning.
Now, my worry is that Binks is very concerned with telling the truth. I'm just not sure which truth he's going to tell them, and whether it'll be relevant in the slightest.
He's gonna tell him about the music and the guy behind the door.
I will follow them.
Alright, and you are led to the interrogation room. You are sent into one of the rooms, and Ira will sit down for questions, and he will say, "Would you mind stating your full name for me?"
Great, I've now got to think of a surname.
Not necessarily. You can just be Binks. Thea was
Binks.
just Thea.
Binks, the light of the monastery.
Do you have a surname, or
No,
as a monk
just
did you
no, just the title.
Binks? What was your previous occupation before becoming an adventurer, I assume?
Actually, I'm not currently an adventurer. I am a practicing monk. I have always been a practicing monk. I've had no job. I've never worked a 9 to 5. I've never had a pay slip. It's a sad life, really.
Well, it's a life free of responsibilities and want as a monk. How long have you been with this group of people, with these groups of people?
The winged tiefling I've been with for many a moons, and the Kalishtar, and the robot, and the what's
A human?
and the human. I've been with them for about. It feels like a lifetime.
Alright, could you give me is that a lifetime as in you've experienced a lot during this time, or is it more of a case of it has just been so long that you've lost track?
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, maybe not an elf's lifetime, but we've grown so much together and shared so much together that it truly feels like time has no limit on us.
Alright. Can you describe in your own words your friend Toby's character?
Yeah. So, he's not the greatest creation. There's a few bugs in there. He's a bit stuttery sometimes. His speech box needs to be fixed. And sometimes he gets stuck walking. But apart from that, he's okay.
Would you describe his personality to me in your own words?
I don't think he has one, I think is the problem.
Okay. And what were you doing while Toby was defending himself, as you say he was?
Well, it was such a blur that whole night. Um, so we had been
This happened a
tasked.
couple hours ago. It is not night yet.
I'm sorry, but when everything happens so quickly, it's hard to keep track. So we had been sent out on this errand by a organization who steals Cobalt Souls, and they asked us to um, find out if this man was a cultist. I tried to defend the man and say, why do you think he's a cultist? But they didn't have a reason, so we just did what we were told, and so we followed him. We stalked him back to his home, but on the way,
Sorry,
we
you said you followed this man back to his home to do what exactly?
but to ask him if he was a cultist. You see, the Cobalt Soul people, they were pretty gung ho about it. They didn't really like us questioning why we had to follow him and ask them. They got a bit jumpy at that. So we needed information on something
Can you
else.
tell
So
me? Can you tell me who in the Cobalt Soul sent you on this mission?
yes, question. That's spelled Question. And Owen, spelled Oren.
Are you sure it was Owen? Because he is very meticulous when he gives a job out, especially to people who aren't a part of the Cobalt Soul. You're
I'm gonna
saying that
lean. I'm gonna lean in across the table, and I'm gonna like look both ways as if we're not in like a metal box. Like, I think, you know, I don't think. I think he's hiding something from you guys. When we said that we had to come here to try and get our friend out, he was very apprehensive. I think something's going on.
So you're saying that he knows that your friend is here.
He's very aware. He told us where we would need to go to get him out. He gave us the instructions.
All right. And so did he say why he was so apprehensive about you all coming here to your friend?
Well, I think the thing is that, I mean, obviously you've seen our group. We stand out in a crowd. And I don't think he likes our unpredictability. I mean, we didn't know anything, any rules or anything about magic, and then suddenly I was being interrogated in a library of all places. Who interrogates people in a library?
Or, sir, uh, just did Owen say why he was so apprehensive about you all coming here?
I think, if I remember correctly, he said that the company, have a relationship with the guards, and so he didn't want us to tarnish that delicate relationship that you have and the magic using.
All right. And do you think that your friend Toby could have de-escalated the situation in any way or solved the situation by different means, not requiring him to use a powerful wand?
Well, I think when you're backed into a corner with 20 armed thugs telling you to give over your money, and the only thing you have on you in that split second is a wand that can save you, I don't think you even think. I think you just do, and he did. And what's done is done. But he needs to come home to his family.
Well, that cannot just be allowed to happen. There is still a order and way that things happen. I
We
cannot
didn't know.
guarantee.
We did not know any rules or laws about magic. We should have gotten a handout when we got into the city. Really, we were none the wiser. Can you commit a crime if you don't know what you're doing is a crime?
Yes. Yes, you may. Is there anything else that you'd like to say on record?
Yes, I would just like to have it written down that you promise he's being taken care of, right?
As best as we can.
Does he have a cellmate?
Thank you for your time. If you wouldn't mind following me, I will lead you back to your friends.
Why we're not done?
Yes, we are. And he will stand up and he will lead you back out.
As he arrives back at the group, you can just see all three of us in perfect synchronization, just shaking our heads and staring at the ground. We have no idea what's been said, but we know.
Iroh will sort of come up to you guys and he'll say, well, we've already gotten and spoken to Toby about the situation. Some of our... We have to go discuss what is going to be done. Not sure how long it will take. You did leave your address with the receptionist, correct?
We did. Are you saying that he is to be held pending further charges? To be held pending a verdict from somebody else? What's the situation?
With this new information, And with the limited staffing at the closest
Yes, but who's responsible for the
station.
decision?
One of the higher ups, maybe, or perhaps we will. It's
Or
doesn't. I'm
perhaps you.
not sure.
Do you know when you might decide who might make the decision?
Well, that's what we are going to discuss.
Might
I'm
I
just saying
suggest that perhaps you discuss expediently? Toby's skills are very valuable to our group, but he is also very valuable as a being to us. I see no reason that he should be kept in such conditions while having no concept of any law that he has broken whilst defending his life in a way that in everywhere else he has travelled and in every past experience he's had would merely just be the expected turn of results for him to defend himself.
I cannot say, and I cannot promise to let him out.
I'm not asking you to promise to let him out, I'm asking you to speed your decision up.
Again, it is, I will say this, it is far more likely if we were to speed the decision up that a harsher punishment would be given should we talk things out and look everything over. I would say the faster you hear a response, the more that you should be worried about what that response is. I will say that I will see if I can get him let out on bail and some sort of restriction be put on him for the time being until it is further decided what will happen, but I cannot promise that. Will do my best.
Just looking at these guys, does it look like a bribe would be inappropriate? Or does it look like a bribe would be very welcome in their grubby little mitts?
Which one are you looking at?
The guy, Iro.
You can't get a good look at his face. His armor and his uniform covers most everything up. But I will say, as the DM, go ahead.
I'll sort of
We'll
look
see
at him
what
and
happens.
just say to him, is there a way that perhaps we might assist in speeding things along? There are, of course, expenses involved in all of these processes.
Yes, if I can get an amount posted for his bail, then that would be the fastest way for him to get out of here.
Perhaps we might put up some gold in advance.
I would say 50 gold pieces is probably the most that we could say.
Okay. Well, here is 60. It's up to you how honest you are. It's change.
To the receptionist, not to me.
Very well.
You get the sense that bribe's not going to work with this one at least. But
I have not in any way attempted to do that quietly, so if somebody else wants to speed along for the remaining gold, I don't care what shifty shit they do underneath.
But he will say, then let me go talk to my superior and see if I can't get him to allow him to leave on bail.
Most appreciated.
And he'll walk away. And about 30 minutes later, he comes back and he says, I did what I could. Unfortunately, the bail is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. It is going to be about 100 gold to get him out. And he will have to remain on magical watch until the decision is made about what will be done.
Pray tell, what is a magical watch involved?
It is an ankle bracelet that we put on, and it checks how often magic is being used, what level of magic is being used.
You are aware he requires magic to move. Yes.
It gives some amount of leeway to creatures who need magic to survive, but specifically anything a cantrip or higher, it detects and it leaves and it copies and it writes down.
Well, I'm sure he values his freedom more than his magic. It is a shame that he has to choose.
if you would like to talk to the receptionist about the bail, go ahead. I have done all that I can. I'm sorry, but you will just have to wait and see.
Is your
for the
supervisor
result.
available for discussion?
I will pull out 40 gold and give it to the receptionist while they're still talking.
Yes, but I think you will find that he will not be any more convinced than I.
Be that as it may, might I have a short word with him? Just a minor word with him.
I will see if he's available. He'll come and he'll leave. He'll come back and a dwarf, fairly old dwarf, appears. Says, I
had hoped to speak to you one-to-one of private matters. Just a brief word. I'll take but 2 minutes of your time.
says, all right, follow me. And he'll lead you into his office.
I'll look at him and... I really don't want to take up more time than necessary. I'm sure you're a very, very busy man with a lot of responsibilities. Nevertheless, I just want to make it clear. We have travelled a long, long way, battling for peace and for the good fight on behalf of the Everlight and various others. As a group, as a unit, we have defeated demons in the depths of Betrayer's Rise, far to the east or west. Nobody's quite decided which direction that is yet. Unit 2B01 is a valuable member of our party, and I assure you that that party will be doing great deeds on behalf of the good in this city, whether that is the Cobalt Soul, or whether that is perhaps for someone like yourself, who I'm sure has many difficult things that they need dealing with. We are a powerful group who intend to make waves. It would behoove you well to perhaps have us on your side. I'll leave the
Sorry,
decision in
lad,
your
is
hands.
that a threat?
No, it's an offer, sir. How could he even vaguely perceive that as a threat?
You said you'd rather have us on. The way
No,
you said it,
I
we're
said it
here
would
to make
behoove you well
waves.
to have us on your side, to do things on your behalf. It was, yeah, quite
Just-
clearly only an
Like-
offer.
You know, at the same time, it also could be perceived if we're not on your side, then we're against you.
No. That's not what Zidus is saying at all.
All right.
I'm
Still,
sure
the
you
dwarf will say,
have difficult
say-
things.
I have heard the test. My employees have told me everything that you and your friends were able to say in the report. I will read it over. You do have, I will say, a better than average chance, as you are appearing to be allies with the Cobalt Soul, and seem to be somewhat unaware of the rules of the city.
Indeed.
All of those factors greatly help your case.
Well, you
I
have our
cannot
address
stop.
should you need any assistance.
I will say, it would behoove you to make sure that he keeps the usage of his magic to a minimum to avoid anything further going on, at least until we've decided on what we are to do in the future.
Indeed. We'll make sure of it.
All right. You may leave.
Thank you. Ta-ra.
And with the full bail posted, Iroh, the human, goes and fetches Toby. But before he leaves, or before he takes you back to the rest, he puts a chain around your leg, and he says, "This is a magical, analyzer. It will keep track of the amount of magic you use at a cantrip level or higher."
Toby.
Yes.
Iroh just said that to you.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay.
The decision on what any punishment will be is yet to be decided, but your friends have posted bail, and so you are allowed to leave under this one condition.
And what if I need to leave the city and I'm required to defend somewhere else? and I'm required to use magic there.
Well, if you are to leave the city, then I would say the best option is to come talk to any of the gods at any of the stations and explain the situation. Uh, should you just leave the city without saying anything, it may appear as though you are trying to run, and that will worsen the situation. And the bracelet and the anklet doesn't necessarily stop you from using magic. It just keeps track of how much you use magic. So it won't stop you from using it, but it will keep track of it. So if you're using it more, and more, it may or may not help your case.
And what if another, say, 10 people decide they want to make an attempt on my life?
Then
Then what do you presume then?
I suggest you stay close to your friends and you try to figure out some other way around it.
Then there won't be any complaints if somebody has to lop somebody's head off, say, in self-defense.
That is,
Yes?
if, I will say for free, had you, in your own words, lobbed their heads off instead of using magic, most likely you would have been slapped with a fine, and that's about it.
Fine for defending oneself against lethal force?
Well, in that case, you would have defended yourself against one, caused one other death. Listen, I'm just saying, alright? We don't take kindly to violence in the city on anyone's behalf, alright? Villains and thieves and bandits get hit with the same rules as everyone else does.
There
We're
is
not
one
any
thing
harder
you've
or
realized,
them.
right? You've realized that the net violence has gone down as a result of my actions, yes? Not gone up. You see, violent
I'm not
thugs
here
that
to
take people's lives
listen.
have been...
Listen. I'm
Yes,
not here to talk about the principles of it, okay? There are many who would agree that you using magic in that case prevented more harm than good. But
that's
the
good at
people who
least.
the people who are in power and the people who create the laws see it a different way. It is not me that you have to convince, it is them.
Perhaps I should listen to their underlings more. Perhaps.
And he will lead you back to the party.
Very well.
Oh,
Toby.
it appears I'm free to go in some capacity.
Hmm.
Though, it appears I will need some other things to defend myself with.
Don't worry, you have us for now. Come along. We can talk about this on the way home.
Well,
And
I'll definitely be needing the Steel Defender, because the
I
Steel
was gonna
Defender
say,
is
yeah.
critical to defending myself as well.
I was gonna say, as when you come back, one of the other guards comes with all of the equipment that they had,
Including the wand of lightning
taken.
bolts.
Yes, it does seem though it has been
Depleted of
searched,
charges.
if that makes sense.
Yes. Sounds good. Okay.
As we walk out, I'm gonna turn to Toby and be like, "Cool bracelet.
I think they call it an anklet.
What other colours do we come in?"
If you like, when they are done with it, I could try to see if I could make sure I can secure it for yourself.
Toby,
I
Sorry, go on.
was just gonna say, oh no, I couldn't possibly take yours. It matches your chrome too much.
Indeed, quite.
Toby, how important is your left leg from the knee downwards? Can you replace it?
It is.
I mean, we could just leave leg and bracelet behind, no?
It's a difficult fix, but theoretically, with a lot of work and a lot of talent,
Oh, well, you're screwed then.
it's the servos is the easy part. Yes, the servos, connections, the
I look at him with
mechanisms
a glazed
which
look on my
work.
eyes, pretending like I'm listening.
We could
But
put you on a unicycle.
more so the powering of everything that becomes a little more complicated. I could probably fix that, probably, but it would be a time-consuming fix, and it might not be the cheapest. But nonetheless, if required, then I would have to that would have to suffice.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I'm sure there may be other ways to get this thing off in one capacity or another.
Oh, I'm sure we could manage that.
Or we can. In the meantime, if we have work to be doing, then shall we?
Yes.
I'm gonna whisper to Xylus. He's rambling. I think you broke him.
That's okay. He'll come round.
Actually,
So where's the
speaking
party
of
heading to?
work,
So
run by me one thing, Xylus, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
What of the job? How did that go in the end?
Oh, the potential cultist is under the protection of the Cobalt Soul, or at least somewhat. I think he went to the guards to impeach his case. It all turned out well. We got paid. Did we get paid? We didn't
Well
get
done.
paid.
You did
We
not
completed the
get
job.
paid.
We completed the job. Is the point?
Well, I kind of got
Oh.
paid. Did I keep the staff?
Yes, we got the staff, didn't we?
Yes, you kept the staff. But I don't necessarily think of that as payment.
No, not really,
Uh,
but kind of.
the payment that you were given was temporary membership to the Cobalt Soul.
Toby, what was prison like?
Not as terrible as people make it out to be. Mostly just a lot of downtime.
Did you drop the proverbial soap?
I don't believe they had any soap to drop.
You sound disappointed.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Shall we get some rest before we get acquainted with this city further? I must say, I don't think I'm a fan of the city.
You and me
Rules.
both.
What did you say, Fair?
There's a lot of rules.
Perhaps we need a pamphlet of them all.
Lots of rules that seem to make very little sense considering that, as we say, somebody with an axe could lop off the head of 30 people.
Perhaps.
I'm assuming the party returns home.
If anybody attacks us on the way, we'll all stand still and let Miles do all the work. Oh, and Binks, yeah, true, sorry. Miles and Binks.
When you all return home, you find it is exactly how you left it. Do you do anything before you go to bed, or do you all just head off to your respective rooms?
I think we would have let Owen know that we'd retrieved our companion on bail and made him aware of all the situation. Just in case he can be useful. I doubt he can, but he's there, right? Always.
Upon you telling him that, he will say, "Well, it sounds like you've done everything you can. I will see what I can do, but I don't promise."
Perhaps at least the ability to use magic whilst acting on behalf of the Cobalt Soul in certain capacities, if only in the situation where we need to utilize our abilities. We don't want this to hinder our ability to work for you.
Yes, he will sort of gesture to the sending tablet that he had given you all, and he'll say, "I will call you will reach you through this. On your next job that I have for you, or whenever that may be, we will give you proper identification that will recognize you as the Cobalt Soul. It will help you with all facets of living, any magical aspects, and hopefully help you avoid any other run-ins with the law in the future. Also, I will uphold my end of the bargain. I already have a couple of researchers researching some of the things that Question brought to us.
Thank you. Sick.
I will reach you when I have more information.
Wicked. Yeah, we'll head back. I think at some point we'll probably want to arrange a meeting with Io. See what that lot have got up to.
Alright.
Other than that, I don't think Xylus has any interest in what we do in the city.
Binks, is there something you want to say?
I would like to make dinner for everyone.
Alright. Roll me...
Initiative.
You have chef's tools.
No, I think you guys have a kitchen, so I think that'll suffice as... You don't need, like, chef's tools and stuff like that.
I've got proficiency with a herbalism kit, if that helps.
At least the
Are you gonna
parsley
make-
will be tasty.
Are you gonna make a vegetarian food? Like a vegetarian dish?
No, I just think it'll be, well spiced.
Give me 2 survival checks, one with proficiency and one without.
Okay, the one without is a 7, and then one with proficiency is a nat 20 for a 25.
Alright, so... Technically speaking, what you created for dinner can be classified as food. But luckily, you have blended such a mix of herbs and spices that you are able to save it from it being just completely bland, tasteless, and disgusting to a passable meal.
Nice. Thanks, Binks.
I'll set it out on a dining table with everyone's places.
I'll use Mage Hand to poke the side of Toby's face with various vegetables.
What the... What is this? What are you doing?
Stop
Do you
playing
often
with the...
poke your friends with food?
Only the ones that don't eat.
I will
you,
proceed
Binks.
to bite the hovering vegetable in midair. I will
Excellent,
not
you're
eat
learning.
it. I will just chew it and spit it out.
At that point, I just sort of look vaguely disappointed.
Silas, you can feel the glare that Binks is giving you as you do this.
With that, it's sort of just, a little bit of a peaceful night of just, some banter, some talking, stuff like that, until one by one, everyone heads to their rooms for...
No, I'm not letting Silas come to the bedroom. He can sleep
Somebody's
on the
in
couch.
trouble.
He's in the
Ooh.
doghouse, bitch.
If I'm in the doghouse, I'll sleep with Toby, I guess. Because he's really in the doghouse. Given all his actions today. No, I think after a night's sleep we'll go seeking ale unless anybody has any other plans.
Well, does anyone else have any other plans for the next night?
Nope.
I think we can think of those over the next few minutes. At that point we'll take a short break. Second half quarter of the Netherdeep. That's in charge.
Yes, so we last left off. The party had just returned home after retrieving Toby. Binks had cooked everyone a wonderful dinner, which Xylus took about 30% of and tried to shove it down a robot's
Bullshit!
throat.
Don't make rubbish up. I took one piece of broccoli off the plate with a mage hand and slapped it into
You
the
should be
side of
ashamed.
his head.
Anyway, the next morning, there is a knock at the door.
I'm in.
What? Don't. No. What? Binks.
25 guards break into the house.
Come in.
What? I
Ridiculous.
Where is
was casting
it?
mending, I swear. I swear, I was
I will-
only casting mending.
We
I will
didn't.
go to
we
the
did-
door and open it.
We didn't have doors at the monastery.
You find Io standing there, with Ivan.
Now that's a fucking coincidence. Come in, come in.
What do you mean?
I was coming to see you today.
Oh, well. Seems as though we had similar thoughts in mind.
I'll look at my door frame and I'll look over her shoulder to see if Maggie's around.
She's not.
Oh, okay.
she's
Because
not.
if Maggie's with them, then we'd eat outside. We'll sit outside. But if Maggie's not,
No.
I'll invite them in and.
From the looks, from the looks of it, it's just Ivan and Io.
Oh,
I get you a drink?
they said Iro.
No, not that twat. He's dead in a ditch. But don't tell anyone.
Be nice to Zuko's uncle.
Iro, the god, we killed him in the middle of the night and didn't tell anyone. But Io,
You did
no, very well.
what?
Nothing. Io and Irving, yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Please come in. Can I get you a drink?
If some water would be nice, thank you.
Lovely. Yes, it's hot here, isn't it?
Oh, yes, very. Much
I'll sort of
hotter than-
turn and lean over my shoulder and. Everyone, Io's come to see us. Come along. I was down here already, you see, I had to, and then I'll gesture towards the sofa and I was like, I slept on the
Oh.
couch.
I like to think I was sitting at the kitchen table trying to make a Waffle House out of just bread, just building food houses.
What?
I came to see how your the search is going.
Brilliant. We got arrested, ankle clapped, attacked by thieves. We found a cultist, wasn't really a cultist.
There were demons
And-
in the basement.
There were demons in the basement. Yeah, it's been a fucking brilliant day. How about you? Wait, and then I'll just sort of, assuming that everyone's here, she can go.
I will, not about half a second after the mention of ankle bracelet, I'll just come in through the door.
Waving your foot around in the air. Like you just don't care.
No, I'm just tempted to just start slowly disconnecting everything from my leg and just waving my leg in the air after a few minutes of dismantling.
Why do you have an ankle on? Why did you get arrested?
Don't use magic to defend yourself in this city.
Oh, yeah, we were told that coming in.
That makes
I wasn't.
half of us. We weren't.
I thought that they said something. I heard Question mention it. It must have just fallen on deaf ears.
Question,
Way.
don't give me that shit. Question did not mention shit.
We
Question
heard
didn't
her
say shit
mention
to
it.
me.
Then maybe
That
she
was not
just-
even an Io, that was a Darth. Don't even try and make out like that question bitch was useful. Like, she said nothing of the sort. You just took 2 weeks to do your research.
Maybe. Maybe you all forgot. Maybe you just
well,
don't listen.
Regardless.
Anyways,
How's your search
Definitely
been
don't listen.
thanks that one too. But she'll say, but have you gotten, I guess, in with the Cobalt Soul?
going? To a point, there's 2 researchers working on our behalf. I must say that when
That's
I
good.
look to everybody else, I don't think any of us are a great supporter of the way they work. Is anybody a big
what do you
Cobalt
mean?
Soul fan over here?
To be fair, I don't think we've really given them a shot.
What do you mean? From the sounds of it, sounds like you've only done maybe one job for them.
Yes, but the nature of the job was interesting to say the least. A man stood accused without real evidence, and we were expected to just hand him over to the guards if he was seen to be.
No, we were to find the I feel like everybody didn't listen to the mission briefing.
No,
I
no,
listened.
okay, so
I listened. We had to chase down a man just on suspicion alone, and find out whether or not he was a cultist, which had nothing to do with us and all to do with the kobolds, but they were too cowardly to do it themselves. And then in the midst of that, one of us got arrested and now braceleted, and now we're on the watch list.
That's not quite
That's
how I
There
would
was
word
a
it.
suspicious character who was examining a bunch of dark evil things. We were requested to listen to him, just see, find out. We straight up asked him instead. He was not evil. I don't think, anyway. So we didn't turn him in. I feel like we, lost the plot somewhere along the way.
So let me get this straight. The Cobalt Soul had a job they needed done. They asked you to do it, and so instead of it being a job so that you both could gain trust for each other, instead you're taking it as them being cowards and pawning their work off on you. Is that what I am to understand?
You are absolutely correct.
We don't all think that.
Okay.
I'm with him.
Because that's exactly what it sounds like they were doing. Did you expect them just to trust you walking in?
It would be a nicer world if we all trusted each other.
Well, unfortunately, we don't live in a world like that.
We could if we started to change it.
Then, might I suggest you go speak to some of the people who go speak to the thieves that you mentioned that tried to stab you, and go trust them.
I'd
See
love
how that
to,
goes for you.
They're dead now, so I can't. Also, they didn't try to stab me. They tried to stab him. Them.
Either way, it sounds like you had to do a job to gain their trust, and it sounds like now they are helping you. So what's the problem here?
There's no problem. Just ignore him for now.
All right. Well, as for us, we've managed to get into, I guess, the similar stance where we've done a job for the Alliance, and they have agreed to let us in and use some of their resources. Prolix did mention contacting you guys fairly soon to see what they could gather with some of the intel that you all have, seeing what they can dig up and find out.
What sort of job did you do?
There was... Let me think. We had to grab a figurine. It was in the shape of an elephant. And we had to return it to them. It had been stolen from their vaults.
How did you know that you weren't the one in fact stealing?
Because we had just arrived a couple of days ago, and it had been gone for nearly a month.
Now, how do you know it belonged to them in the first place?
That is a good point. We don't know that. But we have to get the information somehow. We have to get their trust somehow. So this was what they offered us, and to help further along your
We appreciate it.
overarching quest, we did what we thought we had to do.
Thank you. Are you being treated well there?
I would say, yeah, we're getting treated as well as newcomers are in a large organization such as that.
And you found comfortable lodgings?
They help provide us with some. We almost the same day that we arrived and asked for the help, they gave us the job, so we were able to finish it almost the same day that we arrived, and so they helped us to find some lodging for a while and some funds to help with their operations, and they give us the information and, standard give and take.
Good, good. And no undue suspicion or mistreatment based on any members of your party?
No, I wouldn't say any of us have been mistreated.
Good.
Yet. We also
Yet.
have... there could be a chance later down the line. None of us can
course.
see the future here. But as of now, we haven't been mistreated in any way, shape, or form.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'll sort of nod and smile.
How are you all doing here in the climate in this city?
Too hot and too crowded and too loud.
Maggie was saying the same.
And apparently not enough magic.
Yes, Gosariad was mentioning that. He said something similar, but when we were told the reason why magic is so watched closely in the city now, it makes a lot more sense.
You were even told the reason?
Well, this was something we had to ask about when we got here. We weren't told ahead of
I
time.
see.
As Galsari had asked the Alliance, and they explained that apparently a group of adventurers, very high levels of magic, came in and started using their magic to wreck the city. And the gods, it took a lot of lives, civilians as well as mercenaries and other adventurers to stop them. So now they're just wary of anyone who has magic.
Seems a little harsh, but understandable.
That
Apparently,
Does
does
seem-
add some context.
It does make sense that they would be wary, but I don't know how it would help if that situation were to occur again. That just seems rather random.
well, when we arrived and when we asked about this, we all went to get signed up on the registry, at least for the Alliance, and they do. There are a lot of steps that go into it. We all had to get evaluations of our personalities and just who we were as people to figure out and learn if we were trustworthy characters in the city and if we could be trusted not to do any harm that wasn't necessary in a situation. It isn't just simply, you have magic, you're on a list now. It was knowing our characters so that way, should a situation come up where we have to use magic in self defense or to help stop a rampaging beast, then they could see and they knew about us previously and they could say, well, we've tested them and we know that they're good enough that they aren't a threat and that they tried. You have to think about it from their perspectives. To us, to them, we're complete strangers. We could be total wild cards.
Aye, that much is true. You certainly seem to be taking it well in, and well in stride is the word I was looking for. What do you plan next? Further jobs for the allegiance of the All Side?
Yes,
Do they seem like good people?
I mean, we haven't been able to look into the greater dealings of the All Sight and look behind the curtain, so to speak, figure out who they are and what every single goal is and how all the higher
No,
ups
of course.
are. But from the knowledge that was given to us about what the Alliance is and what they stand for, and the limited interactions we have, it seems as though that they sound as good as a person as you can be in a world like this, and
Good.
such a vast organization. It's easy for there to be some bad apples in the group that could lead to the bunch being spoiled, but we haven't run into that at all. At least not yet.
Excellent. Well, as long as the jobs they give you remain within your comfort zone, so to speak.
Of course, we would never agree to a job that we didn't feel comfortable with doing.
Just to clarify, she did say that we'd be able to meet with Praxis, right? Prolix, sorry. I keep calling
Yeah,
her
she
Praxis.
said that Prolix was going to contact you guys in a couple
Right.
days just to try to give you,
Yeah, I believe he
so
gave us
that-
a sending stone.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Just so that way the Alliance can start researching some of the stuff, just like with the Cobalt Soul.
Cool.
Well,
she's not
if,
expecting breakfast, is she?
No, she was
There's
about
a
to,
limit to our hospitality.
Yeah, as the conversation starts to die down, she'll say, "Well, we should get going. The rest of our party is waiting for us. It was nice seeing you all and talking, and try not to get yourselves into too much trouble.
Thanks. And give our good wishes to the rest of your group.
We will indeed." And with that, her and Irvin will take their leave.
Excuse me. Sorry. Dang it.
What would you all like to do?
We're waiting the Cobalt Soul to contact us with their next mission, right?
For your next mission, and you were told that you'd be contacted before that, for some, some answers, some research and stuff like that.
Yeah, great.
You have an idea though, the way Owen talked about it, it seemed like it would be very quickly, like within the next day, maybe 2 at most, right? It seemed like that one had already been in progress, if that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we've done our shopping trip. I think just relaxing about the town is all that Silas is interested in.
Right.
We still ain't got money.
Matt, I have no idea what you said, but it sounded like you
He
unwrapped
said
a Christmas
we still
present.
haven't gotten money.
Oh, true. Yeah. There's always theft.
Yeah, because that's what you want to do right now.
I mean, Binks can be invisible and very, very sneaky.
Is there anything specific anyone would like to do until you get the call, or?
Nope.
I would like to go to the Paul district if there is one.
Yeah, there's a poorer district. There's not like a district where they sanction off all of the poor people. It's just,
I don't know with this city. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I guess so. When you arrive, it's very dirty. A lot of dust and stuff like that is in the air. Everyone's wearing tattered clothes and stuff like that. Everyone's eyeing you. You stand out a lot just because you're wearing clothes that are not completely ripped apart and dirty.
I'd like to try and find an orphanage or something like that.
Yeah, you're able to find an orphanage. It is pretty bustling with just kids running around, stuff like that. It's not very hard to find because it's very loud. And they have a little bit more of well-dressed clothes, but it is still very ripped, tattered, still very dirty. And I'll say, "Hello, how can I help you?"
Hi, I'm here to make a donation.
Donation to the orphanage?
Yeah, you could use a door, and show some other things.
Are you here on a dare, or? I'm sorry, it's just we don't get very many people with money who are willing to donate coming around these parts.
Oh, I would never joke about helping people.
All right, if you're sure. Yes, we do accept donations now, I guess.
Okay, and I will take out a pouch that has 215 gold in it. And I will...
It doesn't, I'm afraid. I spent 60.
It has 155 gold in it. And I will give it to her.
She opens it, and her eyes just widen. She's like, "Sir, I'm sorry, I cannot accept this."
You absolutely can. These children need
You don't
feeding and,
understand. This amount of money could get this orphanage burned down.
What do you mean?
This amount of... She kind of pulls you off to the side. She's like, this amount of money could get anyone here out of this part of the city, and anyone here would literally kill every single child in that orphanage for this amount of money.
Then how do you expect anyone to live better lives? Or do better?
Well, that's the point, is that either no one does or everyone else dies so that one person can succeed.
Okay, how much is a house in not this area?
Where? There are so many districts here. There could.
Well, if we get you out of this area and into a different area, will you be able to survive with money?
With money, then would it be the problem? Would be then paying rent, and it's.
I was talking about buying, owning a home. I've never been on the property ladder myself, but it shouldn't be too hard.
This money here wouldn't be enough.
Okay, then how about how much is like a really nice meal for however many children you have?
157 children, and I think 20 gold would be enough to feed everyone for a good amount of time.
Okay, well, can you live with 20 gold?
Yes, that, especially if I buy food right away, then that should be fine as long as no one hears about it.
I'll give her 25 gold.
She'll take it, and you still see like protest on her face, but she's also just like, "Thank you, sir, for this. This will go a long way in helping the children."
And helping you, it's about you too. You're, you could be doing anything right now, trying to find the love of your life, getting a more sustainable job, but you're here taking care of the children. You should buy yourself a steak.
I guess you do have a point there, sir. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
And a good day to you. And I will continue to look for other orphanages.
Okay. So it's fair to say that Binks goes and spigots our money down the drain.
Yeah, I'll say Binks, you
feeding
spend
some
most of the
starving
day
children.
trying to, give your money to any like soup kitchens, orphanages, homeless shelters, stuff like that. Come home with about 15 gold left. You weren't able to find anything else. But that's what you spend your day doing.
Does Toby have a wallet function? Because I think that's where Silas's money will be from now on.
I can
In all
construct
fairness,
you a secure compartment.
In all fairness, I think Silas probably carries his own money. It's just that James can't carry money on D&D Beyond. Bastards.
Is there
spending my
anything
cash on
specific anyone
orphanages.
else? Is there anything
Nope.
specific anyone else does, Thayer or Toby?
Is there like
I
One
turn
thing
my
I'm
waffle
using-
house into a waffle castle.
Hell yes. Wondering
Uh,
and musing whether using mending to fix my steel defender on myself would trigger this bracelet over and over, or this anklet over and over again.
You can try it.
I mean, it's an essential cantrip as a part of the maintenance and repair cycle.
Give me an intelligence check.
Oh, well, that's fucking terrible. That's a 6.
Flash of
You can-
genius now.
I would say you can add proficiency to that, as this is sort of,
that'll make it an 8.
And that would be a 10
All right.
with proficiency.
You're able to gather that maybe there is a chance that using magic on yourself wouldn't. It could be seen as not as big of an offense. Because the
And-
magic that you take, right, it goes into your body, or it does something to you, so it doesn't like leave your general area, if that makes sense, right?
So they're absolutely fine with you touching yourself in public, just don't hurt anybody with magic.
Yes. Yes, sure. Sure, James.
What about if I decided to go and go to one of these temples or such and provide aid by curing some wounds?
I will say, you did not roll high enough to know what would happen.
Don't know until you try.
You see,
You could always
using
heal them
magic
with
to help
arcane
others-
You gotta
jolt.
be smarter. You're not smart enough to know what would happen then.
Or if they want to send me to prison for saving the lives of others by curing some wounds, then they can attempt to try that in court.
At least leave the wand of lightning bolts behind. If you get arrested again, I
Of
would
course.
At about
Like it.
5 p.m., you receive a message
Ding dong.
from the specific one from Owen. He says, if you all wouldn't mind, we have procured some information that I think you all will find very helpful and useful. Also giving you access to your licenses, as well as going over some basic details of being in the Cobalt Soul. If you wouldn't mind coming down tonight, that would be very much appreciated. But if you can't, we understand.
We'll be there this
It
evening.
is a little bit late.
BRT. And we'll head on out.
Right.
We'll collect Binks
Everyone
from
goes.
whichever orphanage he's got lost at.
Yeah, you find him at an orphanage on the other side of town.
That's fine.
Completely filthy and dirty just
Yeah.
because the dust that was in the air, you know.
He's fighting the
Sorry.
good fight. I'll prestidigitation his face.
Alright.
Clean up
Toby
bitch up.
Sinclair goes up.
I think you find him. You know those in Western films they have those like balls of like that like blow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, he's probably playing football with the orphanages with tumbleweeds.
Balls that blow.
Okay, because they don't have balls or anything like that, or like
No, they
Play
don't.
with the
They have nothing.
weeds.
whatever. You all arrive. The receptionist lets you all in, and Owen meets you guys there. He says, Toby, it is good to see you. Generally unharmed. I'm sorry to hear about the situation that happened. I was able to talk to some of my connections in the gods, and from the looks of it, it looks like they will be just giving you a small fine.
If that is so, then that is tolerable. So, thank you.
If you all wouldn't follow me, we could start to go over some of the new tools and resources you have access to now that you're part of the Cobalt Soul. Unless anyone has any questions they would like to ask before we start the tour.
Just the one. It was mentioned to us by the guards that we might have to register our magical ability. Is that something we can do through yourselves, or do we need to go to guard
Well,
station
now that
Alpha
you
or
are-
something?
Now that you are members of the Cobalt Soul, we will keep track of you, and we have a roster that we give to the gods.
Excellent.
They allow this they allow us to do this because we help out the city, but it is also then expected that should one of our own break the rules to an extent that we maybe is seen beyond reason, we are expected to deal with it, and we do start to lose some of the privileges that we've been given.
So within our work
So-
with the Cobalt Soul, you would like us to keep our magical usage to a minimum, or just our magical harm to a minimum?
I would say if you need to use magic, it is fine. The Cobalt Soul has a lot of magical users at its disposal, so we have a little bit of more of a leeway with magic. But I would say try not to fire off fireballs or lightning bolts at just petty muggers. And he will sort of gesture
We'll keep
to
it
you
to
all.
personal destruction.
He'll look like motion towards you all and then say, "I'm pretty sure that 10 muggers wouldn't be able to beat you if you all were barehanded." From what question has
Well,
said
of
that
course,
you all
but
have done.
I mean, if I have my friends with me, then it is even easier.
I mean, it's really easy to fight with bare hands.
I'm imagining Thea just lifts her arms up and they're just two giant bare hands.
Bare claws, exactly.
Yeah. As
Exactly
upon you
that.
saying that, Owen he laughs a little bit and he says, "I think those would probably take out the entire underworld on its own." Uh, but if you all follow me, I will give you all the true tour of the Cobalt Soul. And with that, he begins to lead you down one of the forbidden corridors, Binks. Uh, he motions to his right and left upon like the first set of doors that you guys find, and he says, "This is the school where we teach people about history, trade. Really, it just depends on whatever you're looking for." And you all continue walking. And then you see another set of doors, and he's like, "This is also part of the schooling that we do, but this is more in the controlling and harnessing your magic sense, which is part of the reason why we're allowed a little bit more leeway, because we teach those who maybe don't fully understand how to use their magic just yet to harness it and keep it from coming out in very destructive or harmful ways." Keep walking, and this is the Grand Library. This is where a lot of the records on the Cobalt Soul in particular, and more secretive documents on the city or specific types of magic or spells are held. And he takes you guys keep walking. As you do, the farther you go in, the less and less people you notice. So like in like the general classes, it seemed to be pretty full, pretty busy. After that, it seemed like it was a noticeable difference, but at the same time, there was still a decent amount of people there. In the Grand Library, it does seem like it went back up. There were a lot of people there researching, reading, people talking and stuff like that. It seems like, if anything, that's seen as sort of a little bit of a general place for members to just come in and spend their time. But as you go into this next area, Owen has to pull out a badge, and it gets scanned, and two guards are standing there.
Just to clarify, Owen isn't the leader of the Cobalt Soul.
He's not, but he's
Okay.
just a high-ranking
He's just a high
member.
up, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
And he gets the guards scan his badge, and you all are allowed in, and he says, "This, however, is our research wing. This is where we do a lot of just magical research into new artifacts, and specifically looking into stuff of high importance, like," and he'll mention towards Binks, the Jewel of Three Prayers that you are holding. Stuff like that. Very powerful artifacts that could pose a risk to not only the city, but maybe the general world as a whole. And he leads you to a desk. Well, not a desk, but he leads you to like a little lab where you find two gnomes are sort of like running around, like mixing things and like writing things on like a chalkboard, and says, "These two, uh, these folks here have helped us with the majority of the research that we have found. Ever since Silence came to me and mentioned that you all needed to look into this, I had them working night and day to try to figure out more information. And I think what we found will prove, I hope will prove useful." One of the little gnomes kind of like stops in his tracks. He turns and he says, "Oh, hello there. Uh, I'm assuming you all are the party that we are doing all this research for?"
That would be us, I think.
Hello, my name is Bippity, and that over there is...
No, it is not. No, it is not. That is not his. Stop it.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is. Yeah, that name's a bippity
God.
boppity boo.
His wife's name is Boppity.
No.
Yes. Listen, I had
Gosh
2
darn.
seconds.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, you missed the
Yes.
introductions of Bippity and Boppity, the 2 gnomes.
Oh, okay.
See, that's the... Anyways, if you wouldn't mind producing the Jewel of 3 Pairs, just so that we could get a better look at it, my wife will look it over as I give you some of the information that we have found thus far.
Thanks. Can you give them the Jewel of 3 Prayers?
No, I cannot.
Yeah, just have a look at it. The researchers...
They can look with their eyes.
We've come to this city to show it to them.
If he doesn't feel we are trustworthy yet, that is perfectly fine.
He-
We will do the examinations we can just by looking. And if you produce it, the female gnome will sort of scamper up, get a little ladder, and she'll just sort of sit there and start poking and prodding at it a little bit, but writing a lot of notes down. And Bippity will say, what we have found is that the jewel, as I think you all are aware, belonged to the Apothian at one point in time. It was where he got his power from. What we have found and figured out, however, though, is that this jewel was blessed by 3 gods, 3 different gods, and that's why the Apothian was so strong. He wasn't just a warrior for 1 god, he was a warrior for 3. And there were 3 distinct places and 3 distinct moments where he reached out to them and asked them for help, and they agreed and gave him the power, empowering the jewel as a divine symbol for channeling their magic from.
So the jewel was given him by the gods?
Not necessarily. Think of it more as a conduit. They imbued their power into it to allow them to give him some power, as it
So
is...
the power of the jewel was given him by the gods?
Yes, there's no records to mention that the jewel was given to him specifically by the gods, but there's also no record to indicate that isn't how it is.
Are there any records of which gods?
Yes. So the very first god that was that he made a pact with was the Moonweaver, Zahayan. She is the deity of moonlight and autumn. He came to her. He came to her in a place called, I think it was Giago. Records are...
don't worry about the spelling. I'm just making notes so that we've got it.
Yeah, it's more of, you get the sense that its records are very broken, right? And they've managed to piece together some of it, right? We're not sure exactly what happened in that specific situation, why he originally asked for it, as before gaining the power of the Moonweaver, he was relatively unknown. He was, by all intents and purposes, invisible to history. But after being given the power of the Moonweaver, it seems as though he used it to help against the war. He helped fight against the Betrayer gods during the war, during the Great Calamity. And this is where the next god comes in. Him and a fair-sized group of fighters and individuals went to Betrayer's Rise, where most of the Betrayer gods' powers sat and came from. There, it was expected to be a final stand, if you would, a fight against them, hoping to finally end the war. However, it was, by all accounts, unsuccessful, as the war continued on for much longer after this point, but it did succeed in him gaining another god's boon. In this case, he gained the Changebringer, Avandria, the goddess of freedom, trade, travel, adventure, luck, the sort. She offered and saved him, for all intents and purposes, from death in that fight. And he was able to make it out, and he had even more power than he did previously. The next spot, however, is still a bit unknown, but we think we have an idea, which is, how do we describe this? It is it's going to be very strange to say, but the drowned city. It is something that we have been studying for a little bit, but have very little information on. But have you all heard of the substance known as rudidium?
Meridian. We heard of it briefly. I think, and then I'll turn to the rest of the party. Is that what Question's friend was looking for in the Betrayer's Rise?
That is what
I believe
Aloysia.
Aloysia.
Aloysia,
yeah,
right.
Aloysia was looking for it, and Prolix also to an extent,
Yeah.
but he wasn't as forceful about it. Well, this is a new substance, a new material. It's quite powerful by all intents and purposes, but it has been coming from a place that we have been calling the Netherdeep. We believe that this place may be the final resting place of the Apotheon. In that, to an extent, he is. According to the legends, the Apotheon was destined to the Betrayer gods until the prime deities saved him and brought him back. But he always had that air of evil and darkness still within him, as again he was still promised to them by destiny. We believe that this substance is that manifested whole, as it can cause great power, but we believe that it is also the source of a scourge that is starting to plague the lands.
I'm sorry, you said he was thrice blessed. Do you know who the third god was?
Unfortunately, we haven't been able to figure that out yet. Just because, as I said, the Drowned City is where we believe the next place is, but we haven't been able to reach it because of the guardian that guards the Drowned City.
This must be it.
We also Boppity will sort of look up from her notes and she'll say, also, to be fair though, we haven't had any reason to want to go into the Drowned City very much other than exploring and archaeology reasons. So perhaps given a true reason to go in, we might be able to search more prevalently, but as it stands, we don't have any information about the third god. And she'll say, but we do have one theory though, which is that, from the sounds of it, and from what Question said, the jewel has been gaining power to an extent as you visit these grand places that were important to the Apotheon. I believe that you have to follow the Apotheon's journey to bring the jewel back to its full power. Then I think you may be able to go into the Netherdeep to perhaps find the Apotheon or gain access to it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that heading to the Drowned City would probably be the
Beg
next
pardon.
step.
The drowned city
Yes.
is as it sounds.
Yes, it is a city that is completely underwater.
I'll look to Thea. It's alright for you.
Did we get medals that let us breathe underwater?
For an hour.
You did, but not for long. Upon sort of like you all starting to talk about it, Owen will say, we are willing to help you with adventuring into it. But as long as we also do seek to gain entrance and access to it, but I will say that if you prefer to be the ones on the front lines in exploring it, then I would say wait until we can bring this to the higher ups and convince them that this is something worth our time. As very few people know about this as of yet. Some researchers do, some of my agents do, Question, and you all are really the only ones in the Cobalt Soul that know about this. I will also say, from intelligence that I have gathered, it seems that the Alliance of Allsight and the Vermilion Dream all have some desire to get into the Drowned City and the Netherdeep as a whole as well. So that will most likely help convince the higher ups to go, just to prevent anyone, any of those factions from gaining access to whatever may be in there.
Nothing like friendly competition to increase the determination of a guild or group.
Yes, but I will say, before you do any action, I will ask that you all wait, and at least give me some time to give you proper access to materials and a full, what's the word I'm looking for? A full mission
Membership?
into it.
Yeah. Okay. Perhaps in the meantime, this is embarrassing. We're a little short on cash. Might there be some availability of some paid work?
I can do you one better, which is that all membership cards have access to a limited fund, so to speak. As long as you continue doing work for us, we are willing to cover whatever expenses may come up to a certain extent.
And what if one had more frivolous needs?
Depending on what it was, it could be overlooked. But if you're asking if you could go buy a plot of land,
No, but
it's a little bit much. But if
there
you're
is difference
asking for-
between doing work and having money of one's own to spend on things that could be perceived as totally useless but pleasant. I do enjoy a fine meal, a good wine,
Yes, that would be
stunning
perfectly fine.
golden jewelry,
That
a cloak of protection. I'll gesture towards Miles.
some magical items we can procure and give you ourselves. If you give us a list of what you're looking for, we can see if we have any in stock that we can.
I'd like a
let
robe of the
you
Archmagi, a staff of the
No.
Archmagi.
No. He will,
and,
as you say this, he'll sort of like give you an
and a
eyebrow
plus
to
3
say,
Bloodwell vial. Other than that, I'm kind of good. Just saying.
I already had one of those.
He has a +1.
Mine's a +1. I'd like a +3. I want an upgrade, goddammit!
No, you're not gonna get that.
No, I'm well aware. Zydus doesn't actually need all of that much.
Yeah,
a +1
but-
weapon so I could stop cart. No, I kind of like my weapon. Oh, I'm good.
But yeah, you get the. He'll basically say that you like your memberships will allow you guys access to lodging, food, some items and other things that needed for like a mission and stuff like that. And if you have any more desire for like magical items and stuff like that, you can talk to them. There are plenty of researchers who create magic items, so if you just talk to them, they love doing it. He'll say, if you talk to some of the artificers of the research hall, they love creating items and furthering their craft. So if you just say what you need, they will give you a heavily discounted price on creating such things. especially if you what is the phrase? Scratch their back first.
Sounds good. Thank you for your assistance.
Of course. Is there any other questions or any other things that you want to ask? Especially our two researchers here about anything at all?
Do you like working here?
Are you asking this to Owen or Bippity and Boppity?
Bibbidi bobbidi.
To Bippity, Boppity, and Boop.
There's no boop. Let's say, yes, we quite enjoy it. We are allowed to research and learn about magic to our heart's content. And just like with all of you, we are given access to levels of magic that we wouldn't necessarily be able to get if we went anywhere else or if we were not part of the Cobalt Soul.
No, no.
Matt died.
Do you ever find anything dangerous?
Oh, yes, very much so. Something I didn't say, but it is said that the Jewel of Three Prayers at full power, when it was gifted, or when it was imbued with power by the gods, had enough power to blow up an entire continent. Now, from the sense that I get right now, with you visiting two of those sites, it has enough power to maybe blow up a city block, but I doubt you're gonna to reach country exploding levels. But who's to say?
Fingers crossed.
Is there anything else? Alright, we'll keep researching as best we can. See if we can't find anything. If we find anything of substance, we'll contact you all and let you know. And with that, Owen will say, he will sort of hand you all 5 little, IDs, basically. And he says that you all are not the lowest, you are, in all intents and purposes, the lowest level of the Cobalt Soul that you are when you first enter, but you also have been given special privileges. Should you want to go to any of the classes, magical or otherwise, you are free to do so. Should you need to access the research hall, it is open to you, but I do ask that you be careful. Usually we do not allow new prospects to enter the lab so free willingly, but you all are a special case. Should you need to use the Grand Library, you are welcome to do it. And should you need any help or any assistance, all you must do is go to the receptionist and ask for me, and I will see what I can do. And
Thank you very much for your assistance.
of course, I'm sorry for any trouble that may have been caused by any lack of knowledge or any could have been perceived as misinformation given. I know that our city is strange in the way that it does things, but we also have 3 incredibly powerful groups of people, all with many mages at their disposal. So,
Yes, speaking of which, how well do you get on with the, not you personally, but as a group in the Cobalt Soul, how well do you get on with the Allegiance of Allsight?
we tolerate them. I would say we have it is more of a bit of a non-aggression pact, but we also do from time to time, as Questions told me, Prolix, one of the members, did help return. We have been known to work together on occasion.
Excellent.
But
as long as we don't
usually-
seem to be fraternizing with the enemy, we came with some friends that are getting involved with the Allegiance of Allsight for the
I
benefit
will
of us
say,
all.
as long as you are not exposing the greater inner workings of the Cobalt Soul, then
No, nor
I should see
neither
no
they to
problem.
us of the allegiance.
Yes, I see. I will not ask, as the head of intelligence, I will not ask you all to engage in espionage on our behalf. I don't see.
Excellent.
We trust them
As long
to
as
an
we're good to
extent, we
maintain
work
friendly
them.
relations, that's all that we.
Yes, there's no reason for you all
And
to.
your relationship with the
Cut off.
Vermilion Dream?
Should you be found fraternizing with them in any way, you will be kicked out and blacklisted.
A pact of aggression, it would seem.
It is very often that we find ourselves on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Very good. I didn't like that Aloysia bitch.
Mm.
Cool. Right. Thank you very much for your help. I'll look to the group. Does anybody have any further questions?
I think that's all.
Off.
I have no idea what came out your face, Shmo.
I said none that I can think of.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, should
yeah.
you need me for any reason, you can ask the receptionist, or you can use the sending tablet that I gave you previously.
Give us a call when you have work for us.
Yes, something is lining up. I just need to buff out the last few details of it.
I don't suppose
expect it
there's
in
a-
about a day or two.
I don't suppose there's anything you suggest we do with our free time in the city in the meantime, is there? Anything particularly worth seeing in the city?
Explore the sites, I guess. Or just, you know, you can go to classes or learn about the histories or stuff like that. You get the sense
He
that
doesn't go out much.
that, but also being the head of intelligence for like the entire library of Cobalt Soul, he has very little time on his hands.
Yeah. He doesn't get out much, like I said. Well, that's okay. I'm sure Miles and I can go and tear up the town and find out what passes for fun in this place.
Go find Batman.
Yeah. Casino hunting or something, I don't know.
But yeah, with that, you guys head home for the night. Just like Owen said, you find a note in the new mail that you all have started getting in the past couple days. You find a note. It's addressed to Toby from the city guard.
Okay. What's the note say?
The note says that the decision has been made to give you a light fine. Your ankle bracelet will be removed, but you are asked to report to one of the guard, stations, just to get it removed properly, and pay the
Okay.
fine on time, and to be careful in the future about using your magic.
They haven't said how much yet.
They don't say it on the paper, but you get the sense that you have to go there and talk to them about it first. But from the
Okay.
way it sounds like it'll be in gold pieces. But not like, you have to pay 1,000 gold pieces, right?
Yeah, that would be a little bit difficult to manage.
They get you on a payment plan. But with that, though, unless there's anything anyone else would like to do for the night
I'm assuming
ends,
we're not getting the money we paid to bail Toby out back.
that isn't how bail works.
It can be. It depends on the place and people. Okay, cool.
But we'll
Depends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually that's how it works. But yeah, usually you do get it back. But I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a technical question. If the D&D
Yeah.
answer is no, then, well, shit, there goes our cash.
Then oof.
That's alright. Cobalt Soul will pay for our desires.
I'll come to MVPs. We'll come to Mr. Jailbird himself. Jamal, your MVP.
This is disaster of a testimony.
Whose disaster of a testimony?
Binks.
Binxes. Okay, I didn't know if
Yes.
you said James or Josh. I was just
No,
like,
no, Xylus
I
was
think-
Xylus
I
was
think
definitely convincing, and Thea's just a
James was
naive
the
character,
best.
right?
Yeah. Silas is meant to be a chatty, persuasive character who knows how to talk. Binks is meant to be
not
honest. Too honest for his own good sometimes. And Thea's a little naive. So, yeah.
that. Allure, your MVP.
Laura?
Your microphone
Sorry,
may
I
well be
was
muted.
muted.
Yes.
I can't believe you named them Bibbidi and Bobbidi, and their
Oh,
canon
yeah.
daughter, Boo.
No, there is no canon
Yes,
daughter.
nope, it's canon. Yep, canon.
It's Conan? Okay, it's Conan.
It's canon.
Listen, it was the first name I thought of off the top of my head. I didn't feel like going to a name generator.
I was disappointed. I genuinely thought it was the book that had named them Bibbidi and Bobbidi. Okay.
No, there are no researchers.
I see.
We don't get any information, but I understand.
We needed information in smaller blocks because we're
We
dumb.
needed-
Yeah.
Yeah. James, your MVP.
The fact that we did actually go and get Toby, I think we all deserve an MVP for that because honestly,
That's true.
no.
I was expected to just have to write a new character.
When during Thea's testimony, I was literally calling out what she was going to say before she said it. Like when you were like, "Is he a man who?" and she was like, "No." I absolutely love that. That was great fun. But yeah, I kind of like this. I like this Owen dude. He's a cool customer. So he's my MVP. I really enjoyed him.
Like Owen. That's a first.
My only problem with the Cobalt Soul is the lack of information they had previously given us, like as to their own motives and also as to the lack of magic, the fact that we can't use magic in the city. Or like, it was my only problem with them. It's only Josh that's got some huge ass problem with them being shady fucks.
Matt, your MVP.
My MVP, and I don't know how aware you were to this going on since you were busy, doing your thing, but our entire Roll20 conversation with all the spells.
Oh no, I saw it. I didn't read everything of it, but I saw
And
it.
I also the entire time I didn't know if it was James or Laura the one typing each. I didn't know who was talking.
I think there were multiple of us. I know one of them's
it-
Jamal. Yeah.
I didn't know who was who, but I was enjoying it.
viable.
but-
I know that much. I was. My favorite bit was when you were like, well, we just left all the talking of spells behind, and then you were like, yeah, Binks goes to an orphanage, and I was like, Fireball says, did somebody say an orphanage? It was good fun.
Josh, your MVP. Oh, wow, it's that bad, huh?
No, it's that good.
Oh, okay.
How about Thea saying her surname was of the mountain?
I love Binks
Yes.
also saying.
Honestly, both Josh and I missed that. I was going downstairs to get a drink, and I asked him if he wanted something, and then I just heard everybody burst out laughing. I was like, what did Alora just say? And I'd only heard Tane, and he was like, I don't know, you were too busy asking me about a drink!
That was very good.
Thea of the mountain. That's brilliant. I wasn't there for that. Love that.
Josh, I'll give you a few minutes to think about it.
Yeah, what about
do
you,
my
Duff?
MVP. Definitely all of just like the free play that like coming to the city has allowed. I did feel very much that it was by the books, and while I was flourishing where I could, and, it was very, gotta do this, gotta do that, right? Like that entire, everything about the prison, everything about like the magic, none of that's in the book. All of that was just like, it's a good way to introduce you guys to like, hey, this is the guards of the city, right? Their greater workings, right? Well, also then, because I do think it is a little bit weird that like, oh yeah, we can just allow super strong magic casters to cast whatever spell they want. It's just like, yep.
Oh, it's your fault?
Right? No, but like I think it's weird that in a big city like this, right? Because this is the biggest city that you guys have gone to up until this point, right? Like think about it, like Giago.
Yeah, it's just like letting somebody
went for a
fly in a
festival.
big city, right?
Yeah, it's like to
Yeah,
an extent, it's
isn't that
like
right, James?
okay.
Wasn't me, it was him. They end up with their wings cut
Right.
off.
But it's like, you know, to an extent, it's like, you know, people with that level of power running around, there has to be some amount of like check to it, and I didn't want. It also added a little bit of flavor, right?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, Jamal got sent to prison. That was great.
Exactly.
yeah.
Sent the robot to jail. The one person who it basically doesn't affect.
Anything to add, Josh?
Yes. My MVP is the hope that I can pin these two factions against each other.
Which
Which
ones are
one?
multiple?
The people
Cobalt
stealing
Soul and the
Cobalt
Allegiance.
Soul and the guards.
I forgot about that. They're stealing Cobalt's souls.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
idiots.
sure are. Yeah, I just don't like either of them. It made me like so mad hearing like Xylus and Thea get interrogated. I was getting so worked up. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I guess my MVP is more props to you, Darth, for
Yeah, they're
doing a
cops.
really good job with it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're cops. They gotta play devil's advocate to a point, and I really hope that you guys could see that one person got a lot like harder and tougher questions than the other. Right? It was.
Yeah,
very
I'm not
much-
gonna lie. I was a little annoyed it was that way round. You know, I thought like Xylus would get the tough customer, but it felt really harsh that it was given to Thea. I was like, oh, Thea.
Well, it wasn't.
I was
wasn't,
having a
like-
great time.
Yeah,
I
it wasn't
know,
necessarily,
as a
like,
Laura.
oh, yeah, Thea gets the tough one, right? I like the way I did all of like the interrogation scenes, right? It was based off of everyone's reaction, right? Xylus was very calm and sort of in the way that he was speaking, right? And it very much became like just a conversation, right?
Yeah.
With Thea, right? You got the sense that, you know, she said, "Oh, I lived in the mountain most of my life," so it's like, "Oh, so you don't understand how society's rules work then, right?" That comes off as a little bit harsh, but it's also like, to an extent, Thea has lived in like the mountains a lot of her life, right? She still is learning about like cities and rules and stuff like that. So then the cops are just like, "Well, maybe then it's like, it's a like."
Yeah, it
little
makes
bit of
sense.
an honest
I wasn't saying it
question.
didn't make sense. I was just saying like
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, it just I felt sorry for Thea in the moment, even if Laura.
Yeah,
was
I
absolutely
didn't.
loving
Yeah, I
it.
didn't mean to pick on Thea or
Yeah, it was
anybody
great.
like that.
Anyway,
Uh,
that is where we're going to end because that is our
Yep.
time allotted. If you guys would like to say goodbye,
See you next
Goodbye.
week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
we shall see you soon.